Okay, shalom. Right, wonderful lesson today. Looking at this concept of blessed is he who comes in the name of YHWH and seeing how that's related to a very powerful messianic concept as found in the book of Lamentations, the breath of our nostrils. YHWH is anointed. YHWH is Moshiach, or the Moshiach of YHWH. Let's go and have a look at these numbers because they're very fascinating. Just bring myself on board. Okay, shalom. So we've got this verse taken from Psalm 118:26. Baruch haba b'shem YHWH, barachnu chem mi beit YHWH. Okay, blessed is he who comes in the name of the Lord. We have blessed you from the house of the Lord. The sages say the entire of Psalm 118 is regards Moshiach ben Yosef. So we know that Yeshua said, you will not see me again until you say, Baruch haba b'shem Yahuwah. So we have got to get to that stage where we actually understand what that means. And we can start to break down a little more of our understanding, the process involved in getting us to that day where we're able to say, Baruch haba b'shem Yahuwah, Baruch haba b'shem Hashem. However you want to pronounce it, Baruch haba b'shem YHWH, as I was very much accustomed to saying it. So we got to get to the day where we understand exactly what is meant by those words, and these gematria and these hints point us in that right direction. There's a lot involved. So that's the gematria. We're going to be looking first at this one here, 2141, which is the square ordinal plus the triangular number together, come to 2141, which is the exact atbash for this phrase. And I'll just try and bring up the actual verse. So this is from Lamentations 4:20. It says, of whom we had said, under his protection we shall live among the nations. So it starts off the verse in Lamentations, is the breath of our nostrils, YHWH is anointed, or the Moshiach YHWH, Ruach HaPenu, the breath of our nostrils, Moshiach YHWH, which is an important phrase. I'll tell you why, because it comes to 384. I haven't got the gematria up, but I've done this on a number of occasions. The gematria of Moshiach YHWH is 358 and 26, comes to 384. Moshe is 345. If you add the ordinal of Moshe, 39, it also comes to 384. Who therefore is the Moshiach of YHWH? What is the Moshiach of YHWH? The Moshiach is the one who comes in the name. He is his representative on earth as it is in heaven. He's the one who emulates the name, who fulfills his will. So the Moshiach of YHWH is the one who guides us and shepherds us all to attain what we are supposed to attain, to be children of the King, who are able to emulate the King in thought, word and deed. Okay. So it comes from Lamentations 4:20, this concept of Moshiach YHWH, but the gematria for Moshiach YHWH is exactly Moshe, because Moshe is the prototype of the Moshiach. Moshe is the prophet like Moshe, it says the prophet like me that was to listen to him was Yeshua. But he was a prophet like Moshe. And this is the one that we've got to listen to, because Moshe represents the concept of the Mashiach as written within the letter of the Torah. Mashiach, Yeshua, is the Mashiach above the letter of the Torah at the level of Yechidah. His final coming, the final coming of Mashiach, will be at the level of Mashiach ben David, which is a marriage between those two realities. The letter of the Torah and the testimony of Yeshua married together. The two sticks one in the hand of King David. Okay, so there's a lot. I've gone through this previously. You can go pick my videos up on this concept. It's very fascinating, very interesting, exactly what this is linked to, because this is actually linked to a note that Rabbi Kaduri, one of the top Kabbalistic sages of our time, wrote, where he gave the name of the Moshiach in a coded form, and the name of the Moshiach that he gave was Yeshua. Okay, so we've got to bear it in mind. And this phrase, of whom we had said, under his protection we shall live among the nations, is related to the gematria of Joshua, the gematria on the Kadori note, which is a very mystical note. There's a lot of hints to that. So if you go and look at the videos that I've done on Rabbi Kadori and his note, you'll find a connection to this phrase from Lamentations, the Moshiach of YHWH. So it's the breath of our nostrils, Yahuwah's anointed, was captured in their pits, the pits of the enemy, of whom we had said, under his protection we shall live among the nations. And that's exactly what's happened. The lost house of Yosef, under the protection of Moshiach ben Yosef, has been able to live under his protection among the nations. Okay? So these are concepts that we need to understand very clearly. The square ordinal of whom we had said, under his protection we shall live among the nations, comes to 2,855, which is 5 times 571. 571 is a filling out of the name Shammai. And Shammai was the Av Beth Din at the time of Yeshua's crucifixion. Okay, so very important figure. Why? Because there were disputes between Hillel and Shammai, the house of Hillel and the house of Shammai. The house of Hillel, Hillel was the Nasai with Shammai, who was the Av Beth Din. When Hillel died, Hillel's son took over, Shimon ben Hillel. And these two together, Shimon ben Hillel and Shammai, were 20 years as what's called a holy zugoth, a holy couple, opposite one another. So Shimon as the Nasai, Shammai as the Av Beth Din. And I 100% believe that there was truly holy people. Both of them, in one way or another, have had their identity erased to a certain degree, because no way is Shammai a real name. It's connected to the Aramaic word for heaven, as used in Daniel, and it's also the initial letters of the 70 elders of Israel, the 70 men who were elders of Israel. These are the 70 men who were chosen to help Moshe rule, and the spirit that was on Moshe passed to the 70 elders. Okay, so Shammai, the initial letters of the 70 men from Israel, the 70 elders, the 70 elders, the 70 elder men from Israel, is an anagram of Shammai. And Shammai was the Av Beth Din. Guess what he represented as the Av Beth Din, the father of the house of judgment? He represented the 70 elders. The Nasai stood opposite him. He was the president of the Sanhedrin. This is the whole Torah authority, which halacha, the rulings of Torah, can be made by these men. And there was made in a chamber called the Chamber of the Hewn Stone, and it was actually within the temple compound in Jerusalem. So Shammai is a very important person. Why? Because when Moshiach is revealed, it's the rulings of Shammai that will take precedent over the rulings of Hillel. Currently the rulings of Hillel take precedent in terms of halakha. Is much more lenient. Shammai is actually more stringent. But the one thing that connects Shammai to Yeshua is one of the points where Hillel deviated from Shammai, or Shammai deviated from Hillel, was on the matter of divorce. And Hillel permitted divorce for any reason whatsoever, even burning a meal. Shammai was of the same spirit as Yeshua, because he said divorce should only be permissible on account of adultery. So this is the sage's ruling that will be once we have Moshiach fully revealed, and once we have Yehuda and Yosef united as one, and once we have the Torah of Moshe united and fully rooted one in the other with the testimony of Yeshua, which is the Basaroth Tovath, the good news, and how this good news has impacted each and every witness to that good news who's become a believer in Yeshua, has been saved via the life and the soul of Yeshua, as was the will of YHWH. So Shemai is connected to this, of whom we have said, under his protection we shall live among the nations. I have in the past wondered if Shemai or Shimon ben Hillel was actually Yeshua, but I don't believe that anymore. I believe that there was such a powerful holy Zugoth union. I believe these men were truly righteous men, Shemai and Shimon ben Hillel. That the opposites, because they stood opposite one another, that's what a Zugoth is, wholly opposite each other, like the cherubim on the cherubim on the mercy seat, on the top of the Ark of the Covenant, that forms the mercy seat, because YHWH only dwells between two opposites. Okay, he dwells between two opposites, like he dwells in the mercy seat, which is formed from the two cherubim, the two cherubim on top of the Ark of the Covenant. So that is what's required in order to draw down a revelation of YHWH. So these two holy opposites, Shemai and Shimon ben Hillel, whatever Shemai's real name was, were so holy and pure they were able to draw into reality somehow the soul of Moshiach ben Yosef, and with that they was able to draw in a revelation of the name of YHWH above the letter of the Torah. Why? To redeem those of the lost of house of Yosef that were exiled in a place so dark and depraved they had no merit according to the Torah. They had to have, in order for YHWH to fulfill his promises to Yosef, to Yisrael, to Rachel, in order for those promises and prophecy to be fulfilled, he had to reveal an aspect of his name that was above the letter of the Torah. Exile exists only for one reason. The children of Yosef were exiled to the darkest places in the four corners of the world. Why? In order to reveal the name. Everything has a purpose. Everything serves a purpose, and one purpose only, to reveal the name of Yahuwah and his power and his authority and his oneness. And if we don't get that, we've got it wrong. So the children of Yosef was able to be exiled to where they was exiled to, because Yahuwah's name needed to be revealed somehow, and it can't be revealed unless there's a reason for it to be revealed, and the reason for it was to be revealed was so that the children of Yosef could be saved. So which came first? Because we're told that the will of Yahuwah is to reveal his name and his oneness. So he allowed man to have free choice, and through his free choice he chose evil, and this caused exile. But you see, the sovereignty and majesty of Yahuwah is such that even given man's free choice to do evil, his plan is ultimately only fulfilled, and his plan is to reveal his goodness and his power and his authority. And even through man's evil deeds to choose evil, it's only the will of Yahuwah that's ultimately accomplished. Why? Because Yosef is eventually saved from all them depraved places and gathered in to be brought back and returned to that name, so that he can think, speak and do in accordance to a revelation of his name instead of his own evil choice. He ends up in darkness. He can return to the light. He can return to the shadow of the Almighty, And Moshiach ben Yosef has been protecting those who is the Lord's anointed, who's been protecting us whilst we've still been out in the exile of the nations, until all of the house of Yosef are finally gathered in. And we are close approaching that day. We're close approaching the day of final redemption. So all these are very important things, and as we can see, powerfully linked back to the concept of blessed is he who's come in the name of Yahuwah. So all these things I've spoken about, you need to know, because you need to know exactly who came in the name of Yahuwah, and the whole process of revealing that name being the ultimate purpose of all creation. Everything happens for one end only, for the majesty and sovereignty and oneness of the name to be revealed, and that is it. There is no other purpose. There's nothing else other than that. Nothing exists other than to that end, and that is the only will that will be fulfilled in the end, despite man's free choice and free will. So I've talked about that a lot, but there's a lot of pieces of the jigsaw puzzle that need adding up together in order to fully reveal that. Because people think it might be just about pronouncing the name, the name YHWH the right way. It's not nothing to do with that. It's about the whole of creation being for one purpose and one purpose only, and to not be defeated by anything that we see to the contrary. To remember to keep on target, to root everything back via the Torah of Moshiach to that one purpose and that one will. Right, let's have a look at some other numbers. So this is absolutely fascinating. I've talked about this for years now. This whole concept of, you see the name of Yahuwah, it's got 5 aspects to it. It's got the tip of the Yod, the letter Yod, the He, the Vav and the Yod. Okay, so 5 aspects to the name of Yahuwah. There's 5 books to the Torah. There's 5 books to the Tehillim. There's 5 levels of soul. There's 5 aspects of Moshiach. There are 5 aspects of the Erev Rav that conceal the name of Yahuwah. Equal, opposite, evil. And we're very attuned to seeing this evil, by the way. We're very attuned to that. We're very unattuned to seeing what lies beyond that, and the reason why that evil exists even in the first place. The concealment only exists for the purpose of revelation. The concealment of the holy name by the forces of evil only exists for the sake of revealing the holy name, all 5 aspects, through the 5 aspects of the Moshiach. So there's 5 aspects of the Nachash, the serpent, the Erev Rav, and 5 aspects of the Moshiach. And we have a choice. Do we choose life and good and revelation of his name? Do we choose to be like Moshiach? Or do we choose to be like the serpent and conceal? That's our free choice. But it don't matter what we choose, whether we choose to reveal or conceal. Ultimately, in the end, that name will be revealed, even through the concealment itself. So here, what you've got the 5 aspects of Moshiach. In the book of the Zohar, the very opening statement talks about the 13 petaled rose, which is the 13 petaled rose, the 13 tribes of Israel, including Ephraim and Manasseh, and including Levi. All 13 counted. Okay? It tells you that it's got 5 strong leaves that surround the 13 petaled rose. Those 5 strong leaves are the 5 aspects of Moshiach, the 5 aspects of the holy name, either equivalent to the right hand, the 5 fingers of the right hand, that it tells you in the Zohar, that hold the cup of blessing, the cup of salvation. Okay, so you need to go read the Zohar. So we know there's 5 aspects of the Moshiach, 5 aspects of the holy name, 5 books of Torah, 5 Tehillim, 5 aspects of the soul of Moshiach. And these are them. The first one, the tip of the Yod, is the Moshiach ben Yosef. It's the Yechida. The second aspect, excuse me, because I've got a bit of a cold. The second aspect is the Yod of the name YHWH, which is Moshiach ben Dawid. Moshiach ben Dawid is the final revelation of Moshiach at the level of Chaya. It's lower than the level of revelation that we received through Yeshua Mashiach, but it is the final revelation that will bring unity to all Israel and the nations. Okay? And we will live at that level for 1,000 years, I do believe. The third aspect is the Nefesh, soul. This is when it starts to go in the body. Moshiach ben Yosef is the far surrounding light. This is really primarily revealed through Christianity, and sometimes it's very difficult. That light seems far and high above anything that was previously revealed within the letter of the Torah, the book of Moshe. My belief is that the soul level of Moshiach ben David has already been revealed through Islam. Okay, I've talked about this a lot. This is the near surrounding light. It's still above the letter of the Torah. It's still outside the body. It's the aura that's around the body that's painted on all the icons of old. This surrounding light. So the Chaya is called the near surrounding light. And it's much closer to the Torah, the letters of the Torah, than what the teachings within Christianity are. They're far above, they're high above, they're much more spiritual and much more heavenly. They're the Yechida, the far surrounding light. You know, there's sometimes it's even incomprehensible. Difficult to even sometimes root it back to the words of the Torah, but that's what our work is to do. Okay, so Moshiach ben David, if you listen to what's written and revealed in the Quran, for example, it's much closer to and much more connected to the words of the Torah and the words of even the oral Torah. To be honest, there's a replication of a lot of the teachings to be found within Talmud is actually within the Quran. So it's the near surrounding light, but it's still not quite in the letter of the Torah. Moshe represents the three levels of soul that are in the actual physical body of man. Moshe, the Torah of Moshe, is the revelation of the Moshiach, or the revelation of his name within the letter of the Torah. The three aspects of the name within the letter of the Torah. So Moshe would be like the upper He. Then you've got Yaakov, and this is Yaakov rectified. So you can see here, normally in the Tanakh, in Torah, Yaakov is spelled Yod Ayin Kaf Vav. Kuf Ayin. Sorry, Yod Ayin Kuf Bet. In this instance, it's spelled rectified Yod Ayin Kuf Vav Bet. 5 times in Tanakh, Yaakov is spelled this way. Yaakov represents the Vav of truth. Okay? Yaakov, until he has the truth, Od Yosef Chai, Yosef is still alive, he's in a very diminished state. When he's got given the truth that's handed over to him by Eliyahu, Anavi, Elijah the prophet, he has the power then to overcome Satan, the liar, with the power of the truth. All aspects of Satan are overcome with Yaakov empowered with the truth, Od Yosef Chai. All the truth regarding the concept of Moshiach ben Yosef. Okay? Why do we know it comes from Eliyahu? Because Eliyahu Anavi has 5 times in Tanakh a missing Vav from his name, so it's called Eliyah. Eliyah. And 5 times in Tanakh, Yaakov has got this additional Vav, and they say it comes from Eliyahu. Eliyahu gives the truth over to Yaakov. The power of Eliyahu gives the truth over to Yaakov. And we're told in the 13 attributes of mercy as revealed in the book of Micah chapter 7, which is read on Yom Kippur, 7:18-20, we're told, Titain emeth li Yaakov, give truth to Yaakov. And giving truth to Yaakov is an actual attribute to the holy name as revealed through Yeshua HaMashiach to those of the lost of house of Israel above the letter of the Torah. Okay, so this is Yaakov rectified. The next letter of the name is the He, the final He. There's 2 ways in which the 5 leaves can be written. There's one where it just depends which aspect of faith we're correcting. When we're correcting the coming of Moshiach, the last letter He is represented by Sarach bat Asher. When it comes to resurrection of the dead, it's represented by Rachel, who is the Nukva, the Malkuth, the kingdom on earth as it is in heaven. So like the final letter here, and that is Sarach. And if you add them all up, so these are the 5 aspects, and if you add them all together, they come to these numbers down here, which I'm not going to go through now. But just as the 5 books of Torah are split into 7 books by 2 inverted nuns that appear in the book of Numbers, to split the book of Numbers into 3 books, these 2 inverted nuns represent 2 prophets that are very significant when it comes to revealing the concept of Moshiach. The first one's Yon Hanavi, the second one's Eliyahu Hanavi. So these two together, if you add them up with the 5 aspects of his name, that are the 5 aspects of Moshiach, that are 5 leaves that surround the 13 petaled rose, that connect to the 5 books of Torah. It's as if you have the 7 books of Torah. You can go look up this concept. I've talked about it a lot, where the 5 books of Torah become the 7 books of Torah because of this one phrase, arise, Yahuwah, and the ark of your strength. Arise to your resting place, you and the ark of your strength. This particular 2 verses taken from the book of Numbers split the book of Numbers into 3 books, so then you have 7 books, and it's 2 inverted nuns, and the nun is the initial letter of the word Navi, prophet. So you've got 2 prophets, okay? So Yonah Hanavi and Eliyahu Hanavi. If you add these numbers here, the 2041, which is the regular, the 349, which is the ordinal. Let me just double check this. Yeah, sorry, if you add up the regular, which is this number here, with the regular of Yonah Hanavi and Eliyahu Hanavi, you come to 2,300. Okay? If you add the ordinal of these 5 aspects of Moshiach to the ordinal of the 2 aspects of the prophets, it comes to 482. If you add them, the regular and the ordinal, for all 7 aspects that represent the 7 books of the Torah, when we split them into the 2 when we split the book of Numbers into 3 books, it comes to 2,782, which is 2 times 1,391. The exact of the square ordinal for Baruch haba b'shem Yahuwah. You got to understand that the Moshiach comes in the name of Yahuwah, and there's different aspects to that name. There's different soul levels to that name, and they've all got to be united as one. And this, the revelation that we get through the prophet Yonah and the prophet Eliyahu Hanavi, help us to bring that unity for all aspects of the Moshiach together as one name, YHWH. They also link together the Besorah Tovoth, the Besaroth Tovoth. Eliyahu is connected to the whole concept of the Besaroth Tovoth, the good tidings, and the Torah of Moshe, which is truth. Okay, so all this is a power that we've got to understand. This represents, these are representations of the name of Yahuwah. You see, when we elevate our own soul levels up, when we receive an anointing of the Holy Yechidah through Yeshua Mashiach, we receive anointing of Moshiach ben David. And how do you know that you've got an anointing of Moshiach ben David? Because you want to bring Yehuda and Yosef together. That's a sure sign you've got some spark of Moshiach ben David at work within you. How do we know this? Because of the prophecy that tells us that those 2 sticks are brought together in the hand of King David as one stick. And then we've got to have all the other aspects of the name within us and aroused within us. The Moshe that we get through the Torah of Moshe. Yaakov, the aspect of our soul that comes from struggling with all the forces of Satan, all the lies that create separation, that create false knowledge, that create concealment. We need to overcome all those. I talked about, these are the 5 aspects of the Moshiach, by the way. There's 5 aspects of the serpent, and they are the 5 aspects of the Erev Rav. So they are the Nephilim, the Gibberim, the Anakim, the Rephaim, and the Amalekim. Okay, 5 aspects that conceal, 5 aspects that reveal. So the initial letters of the Erev Rav, the Nephilim, Gibberim, Anakim, Rephaim, and Amalekim, spell Nega Ra. This is what sages have said for a long time. Evil, plague. You see what we saw with COVID? You saw every single power of the serpent revealed. All the powers of the serpent, all the media control, all worldwide. This was worldwide influence. All the vaccinations, the symbol of the serpent on her staff. All these, that was what you saw, was the evil shepherds that surveilled humanity for exploitation and for evil. The good shepherd is the one who looks over us, the all-seeing eye. You've got the all-seeing eye of evil. Why? Because we are living in a time where the all-seeing eye of Yeshua HaMashiach has been plucked out. I mean, literally, his name in rabbinical Judaism is called Yeshu. That is a curse. He's had his name erased. He's had his eye, that letter ayin, removed from his name. So we've ended up with the all-seeing eye of evil, because we haven't got the truth about Yeshua HaMashiach, Mashiach ben Yosef. We haven't got the truth given over to Yaakov, to empower Yaakov, so we can defeat all the forces of Satan. So guess what? Satan's running the show till we do. But nobody's going to believe the truth about Mashiach ben Yosef. Why? Because it's trapped within Roman dominion. So you've got Christians talking about they're talking about Jesus Christ in ways that are obviously contrary to the Torah of Moshe, because it's got a lack of knowledge. So we need to refine the revelation, the testimony of Yosef, from the place to which he's descended, and speak of it in truth, united totally to the Torah of Moshe and totally to the name of Yahuwah, until the concept of Jesus Christ is refined to be Yeshua HaMashiach. There is a revelation of the name of Yahuwah, nothing else besides that. You got problems, you got false knowledge that's going to get in the way and present itself like a false prophet and false knowledge. So we've got to rectify this situation with the truth, with a meth. We've got to give truth to Yaakov. Okay, I've talked about that a lot. And they're all the different aspects that need to be united together to help us to get to that place where we're revealing the name of Yahuwah and defeating the Erev Rav, the 5 aspects of the serpent. Okay. So all these very important. Okay, so we can see here I've put up Qumran, because this is a very key. Let me just change this. Okay, I've just had to change the order of it. Right, so we've got this Baruch haba b'shem YHWH. It's got a Mispah Kadima number 2262, which is 2 times 100, 1131. This is connected to Qumran. Okay, before I get to Qumran, because that's quite a tricky subject to be able to understand why that possibly is connected to this, and what are the positives of that and what are the negatives of that. We'll just have a look at this, because this is the actual regular of this phrase, Oz Milifne Varashit, before he created anything. Okay, this is a very famous prayer that is said on Yom Kippur. It's part of the Machzor, the prayer book on Yom Kippur. I'm going to read this because this is an incredible revelation to be found within the Jewish liturgy, the Jewish prayers on Yom Kippur, which is really, they are on Yom Kippur, they are on Rosh Hashanah, they are calling on Yeshua in a very hidden way. They do it through the prayer on Rosh Hashanah, which says Yeshua Sah HaPanim, Metatron Sah HaOlam, and Eliyahu Hanavi. There's a prayer that contains the word Yeshua Sah HaPanim, Yeshua Prince of the Face. On Yom Kippur, we're going to read the actual prayer. It's called Oz Milifne Bereshit. You'll see how it's connected to the concept of Mashiach ben Yosef very clearly. I'm going to go and have a look at that now. And then after that, we're going to have a look at the concept of Qumran and how that has both been part of a revelation of his name, but also a massive, massive concealment born out of Qumran, going all the way back to the time of the destruction of the temple. Okay? Okay, so this is the actual prayer. I've got this bit down here. It says, part of the additional Musaf service on Yom Kippur in the Ashkenazi Machzor, 7th century poem, so going back a long time, a double acrostic of the Aleph Bet from Aleph to Tav, then a double acrostic from Tav to Av. This is the third part of the poem. commencing the Aleph Bet in reverse. So it starts off with a Tav, you can see it up here. Talpiot. Okay? I think that's what it is. Maybe not. Yeah, Shin there. Tav, Shin by the looks of it. Tav, Tav, Shin, Shin, double acrostic. Okay, so 2 Tavs, then 2 Shins, and then there should be 2 Reshis, yeah, Arasha and Araksu. Right, so this is the actual prayer. It says, before he created anything, he established his dwelling, the tabernacle, the temple. And Yinon, this is one of the names of Moshiach, as given in the Talmud and as given in Psalm 72. The lofty armoury he established from the beginning, before any people or language, he counselled to suffer his divine presence to rest there, that those who err may be guided to the path of rectitude. Though their wickedness be flagrant, yet hath he caused repentance to precede it. So Yahuwah desires for us to return. This is the whole hidden message of the Torah. He exiled us because he desired to reveal his name through bringing us back from that place of darkness to which we'd been exiled. The power of his name to overcome that power of darkness. That's repentance, to return through the power of his name back to his name. So, yet he hath caused repentance to precede it, when he said, wash ye, cleanse yourselves. Though he should be exceedingly angry with his people, yet will the Holy One not awaken all his wrath, will have hitherto been cut off through our evil deeds, yet hast thou, O our rock, not brought consumption on us. Our righteous anointed, this is the Messiah, our righteousness, is departed from us. Okay, so they're making a confession here on Yom Kippur. This is, you've got to understand, they can't say anything that isn't the truth. So our righteous anointed is departed from us. When did he depart? They say he never came. Yet here they're saying on Yom Kippur, as part of their pleading for mercy from Yahuwah, they're saying our righteous anointed is departed from us. Honour hath seized us, and we have none to justify us. He hath borne the yoke of our iniquities and our transgression, and is wounded because of our transgression. So who are they talking about then? Who are they talking about on Yom Kippur? He beareth our sins on his shoulder, that we may find pardon for our iniquities. We shall be healed by his wound at that time that the Eternal will create him as a new creature. Okay, so he's going to come back renewed. Or bring him up from the circle of the earth, raise him up from Sa'ir. Sa'ir is Edom's territory, so they know exactly where he is. He's in Rome. To assemble us the second time on Mount Lebanon by the hand of Yinon. So they're talking about something that's already happened regarding Moshiach, who's now in the land of Edom, Rome, bearing iniquities and transgressions and allowing the Jewish people to be healed by his wound. This is spoken about on Yom Kippur. So on the Day of Atonement, when they bring into mind all the avenues through which mercy can be sought, they're talking about the Moshiach that is a whole lot like the Moshiach as revealed to us through the Besaroth Tovath. Okay, so this is Jewish liturgy. They know the truth, they're speaking the truth, and this goes back to the 7th century, and you can only presume that this was a concept that came well before then. So they are acknowledging who the Moshiach is, the one that's suffering in Rome for us, and they are calling upon that on Yom Kippur, the holiest day of the entire calendar, as part of the Musaf, the additional service. And it's all about the Musaf service on Yom Kippur. These are the special additional prayers that are said specifically for Yom Kippur. Okay, so you're saying it at the time of the greatest, you're trying to access the greatest amount of mercy at that time, the time of Moshiach, things like that. So it's all very interesting. So, as you can see, what we've just said is connected to Baruch haba b'shem Yahuwah. Blessed is he who comes in the name of Yahuwah. Okay? And we know that this, before he created anything, is a prayer that is really a recognition of the suffering Moshiach within Rome at this time, that bears our iniquities. Even for Yehuda acknowledges that. There's reasons why. It's because, you see, without the tip of the Yud, there's no covering for sins at the level of the letter of the Yud. And the level of the letter of Yud includes sins of desecration of his holy name, of which we're all guilty. We've all desecrated his holy name in one way or another. We've all taken his name in vain. Right, so this is interesting. It's a double-edged sword indeed, because you've got the whole concept of Qumran. Qumran has got a Misbah Gadol of 1047 with an ordinal of 84 added together 1131, exactly the same as Oz Melifnei Bereshith, exactly the same as connected to Baruch haba b'shem Yahuwah. However, Qumran has also got a regular and ordinal of 470. And 470 is Amalek filled out, doubt. So Qumran has got a big problem. Qumran is going to lead us to face the greatest enemy of Israel, which is doubt. But unless we defeat doubt, doubting what? Doubting the power of the name of Yahuwah, doubting the one who came in the name of Yahuwah, doubting the resurrection from the dead. These are the doubts that we've got to overcome. So Qumran is a key that's connected to the concept of Baruch haba b'shem Yahuwah, but it's also part of the concealment, because you see Amalek, it's the tail of the serpent. Okay, it's also the first people that attacked Bnei Israel straight away after they've come out of Egypt. They're the ones that attack you when you're at your most vulnerable. They're the ones that attack you when you're at your weakest. They're the ones that attack you when you're trailing behind. You know, when life gets hard, you just can't keep up to the normal level. You can't keep up. You can't keep within the clouds of glory. You see, Amalek's going to pick you off right there and then. It's going to fill you with doubt. There's a lot of doubt that's come out of Qumran. Not just historically, but even what we see now with all this, the house of Yosef moving away from the halakha of the Jewish people to adopt practices that were held sacred from Qumran. This creates a lot of doubt. That doubt needs to be defeated. In one way or another, we are obligated to erase doubt from under heaven. We are obligated, as according to Torah, to erase all doubt. The whole finding at Qumran with the Dead Sea Scrolls has brought a lot of doubt regarding the calendar into play. We are commanded by Torah to erase that doubt. Fact. Okay? It's brought a lot of sectarianism in. Qumran was a sect. It needs to be eradicated. We can't have sectarianism when Yahuwah's will is unity. It needs eradicating. We are commanded by the Torah to eradicate Amalek. Qumran equals Amalek. Qumran equals the Erev Rav. One of the most powerful aspect of the Erev Rav is Amalek. The physical manifestation of Amalek are Nazis. But not only that, doubt in the Torah of Moshe, doubt in the testimony of Yeshua creates doubt. As we can see, however, when we wrestle this doubt and transform it from concealment to revelation, you see, we're going to bring about a revelation of the one who, Baruch haba b'shem Yahuwah, blessed is he who comes in the name of Yahuwah. Everything has got a good purpose, as long as we deal with it properly. As long as we don't succumb to the forces of evil and do exactly what we're told according to Torah, eradicate all doubt from under heaven, then we're doing good. If we succumb to the powers of Amalek, we're in trouble, because Amalek, like I say, the spirit of Amalek is what was in the Nazis, and you can get a lot of this, you can get a lot of Nazi spirit. If you get infected by Nazism in any way, like Jew hatred, in any way, shape or form, you're in a very, very terrible place spiritually. You really are cut off from the name of Yahuwah. That's the tragedy of it. You really have cut yourself off and become something that is Israel's greatest enemy. You can get hold of things wrong. The thing that you're supposed to be fighting can be the thing that you become spiritually. You're supposed to be erasing Amalek, not furthering its cause. So you got to get understanding what Amalek is. It's worthy of a study to figure out what Amalek is and how to rid ourselves from this evil contamination. She's straight from the serpent, by the way. Got to recognise it. Let's go and have a look at some other connections to the concept of Qumran that help us to do that. Okay, first of all, we'll look at this. The number of important men this is Zerubbabel, the number of important men that left Babylon. So Zerubbabel, it means seed of Babylon. Zerubbabel means seed of Babylon, yet he left Babylon. He was the head of the important men that left Babylon. And who was the head of the list that left with him? Yeshua. Yeshua was the head of the list. And that's in the book of Ezra. Okay, so again, and we can see that is connected to Qumran before he created anything, and up here. We've also got this, however, the head of the serpent. Amalek is the tail of the serpent. Nephilim is the head of the serpent. We can see exactly connected back to Baruch Haba B'Shem Yahuwah, the exact number, and also connected to Qumran. That is Amalek, the tail. So you've got the head and the tail. The Nephilim were on the earth in those days. These are the giants. This is the head of the serpent, the Negerah, the head of the Erev Rav of the Nephilim. Very powerful giants. And we can see the power. We could see the power as what happened through COVID. The whole mechanism of power. But this head has been crushed, by the way. I 100% believe it. The Erev Rav has not got the power that it once had. It has taken a very severe blow. And its time is very limited, because you see the name of Yahuwah is being revealed, and this concealment is getting transformed into revelation. These lies are getting the lies of the Erev Rav, the propaganda, the lies, the confusion, the bad science, and all that and the manipulation is getting transformed into emeth, truth. So it's losing its power. Where Yahuwah is being revealed. Yahuwah is truth. Yahuwah is a meth. So we can see there's a connection. And here we go. Connection straight away to truth. The square ordinal. Let's have a look. So if we add up the regular of truth, the ordinal of truth, and the square ordinal of truth, it comes to 1131. You see the power to overcome all evil is truth. The power to overcome all evil is truth, emeth. It's the seal of Yahuwah, the tav. We can only know the truth through knowing the concept of Moshiach ben Yosef in truth. That is the truth that's given over to Yaakov. Od Yosef Chai, Titene Meth Yaakov. Yosef is still alive. Give truth to Yaakov. Yaakov represents our soul. Our soul needs the truth to overpower Satan, the liar, father of lies. So we need to know what was the truth regarding all these concepts. And we've got to overcome the forces of evil that conceal that truth. The Amalekim, the Nephilim. Okay? There's obviously some truth hidden at Qumran. I did a whole teaching on this. I believe it's connected to Shimei and Shimon ben Hillel. I think that's critical truth that we need to have revealed for our days, the times that we're living in now. This holy Zugoth, this holy couple, this Nasai and the Avbeth Din, that were able to draw down a revelation, make manifest the Moshiach of YHWH that came in the name of YHWH, that was Yeshua HaMashiach. Okay, there's all this truth has been hidden by forces of evil, by forces of the Erev Rav, and we need to start to overpower that. And maybe Qumran has got the key. There's the one thing, when I went to Qumran, I prayed about it. I watched the video. I spoke about this. I did a whole video on Qumran. You can go watch it. And it talked about, will Qumran reveal the secret for you today? And I was there and I believed it will reveal it to me today. I just had a belief that it would reveal something. And as I was going around, I was thinking, okay, Stephanie, just take a step back. What is this place speaking to you today? What is the secret it's trying to reveal to you today? And as I'm looking around, the only thing that stood out to me that was of any significance at all was the water. Everywhere you looked, there was reservoirs of water. And then there was this incredible aqueduct coming from the mountains and down in. And as I'm looking, I'm thinking, it's something about water. And obviously water and Torah are synonymous. And then I looked at the name of it. What was the name for the aqueduct? In Hebrew, the name for the aqueduct is Mayim Emeth, the water of truth. Okay? The water of truth. And this whole city is incredible city. Like a big town built in the desert. And it's fed by this channel of water, the aqueduct, called Mayim Emet, the water of truth. We've got to get that water of truth, that living water, Mayim Chayim, the living water of truth, and we've got to be able to access that. So there were a lot of gematria numbers around that Mayim Emeth, the Hebrew word for aqueduct. There was some very important gematria. Like I said, I did a video of it, so I'm not going to go through it today. That's revealing and speaking a lot about some of the things that I talked about today. It's speaking about the union between Shimei and Shimon ben Hillel. Things like that, very mysterious truths that we need revealing, because these revelations overcome the concealment caused by the Erev Rav, the forces of the Nachash. And it's the force of Moshiach. So here again, what did Qumran cause? Qumran caused division and separation. They separated themselves because they saw themselves more righteous. You see, it's Sukkoth now. During Sukkoth, we wave all the four species together, and all the four species represent different levels of righteousness, from the most righteous to the most wicked. You see, and on Sukkoth, if you don't wave those species together, you don't fulfill the mitzvah of waving the four species. The four separate species, the date palm, the etrog, the hadass, the myrtle and the willow. You don't fulfill it. The willow represents the rasha. If you don't have the rasha as part of your four species, you have not fulfilled the commandment according to Torah. Qumran separated themselves because they saw themselves as only righteous, and they wanted to be only righteous. Very strict community rules. You can't be part of us unless you're super righteous. But that is not the congregation of Israel. That is not the Knesset Yisrael. That is something else they have created in their imagination. That is not Torah. Because you see, Sukkoth teaches us we've got to all be united together. You see, the righteous have got to pound their chests in confession on Yom Kippur and Rosh Hashanah, just the same as the Rasha. Because we are one people. We are one people. We are not just individuals. We are a people of Israel. We are the children of Israel, not the child of Israel. We've got to get into this mentality. Qumran creates separation. The truth creates unity. What separation though? Was there a purpose for the separation? Yes, there was a purpose for the separation. We were going against the Roman into the Edomite exile, Yaakov split his camps into two. The camps of Joseph and Yehuda needed to be split in two, lest one be struck down. So Qumran, in part, helps to create a separation that is actually very necessary. Why is it necessary? Because it proves the validity of the Torah of Moshe. Because when we see that YHWH, in the greater scheme of things, has been fulfilling his Torah perfectly, according to the Torah of Moshe, but in the macrocosmic level, like the entire house of Israel, entire house of Joseph split from the entire house of Yehuda, which is what we've seen for the last almost 2,000 years, we can see the perfection the Torah of Moshe is true. We can also see, Yosef Chai, Yosef is still alive. Why? Because the two camps are still before us, but they need to be brought together now as one state. So Qumran causes the two camps, but the two camps were necessary, lest one be struck down by Esav. It was necessary. Why do we know it's necessary? Because it was in the Torah, and the Torah is eternal, and the Torah is a revelation of the name. There's no vanity and emptiness in the name of Yahuwah. It was necessary. It had to be so. It couldn't be any other way. Yahuwah is not fulfilling any other book. He's fulfilling the Torah of Moshe. He's not fulfilling the book of Enoch. He's not fulfilling the book of Jubilees. He's fulfilling the Torah of Moshe perfectly. It's the Torah of Moshe that will be united with the testimony of Yeshua. Nothing beside. Indeed, Yahuwah is in this place. So this is after Yaakov have had the vision of the ladder going from earth to heaven. Indeed, Yahuwah is in this place. Ochen yesh Yahuwah, yesh. The existence of Yahuwah is in this place. Makom means place. Okay. It also means, it's also connected to the tabernacle, the temple. The temple is suspended from being built because of the Shabbat, which represents time. There'll come a time when King David rules where place takes precedent over time. We will build the temple even on a Shabbat. And there's significance in that. I did that on a video that I did on Serapis. The first video that I did on Serapis talks about the whole concept of time and space. At this present moment, time dominates over space. That's why we're not allowed to work or build on a Shabbat. But there will come a time where place dominates over time. Okay, and there's implications for that halakhically. The Yeshua and Adonai is b'makom, in this place. B'makom hazeh, in this place. The existence of Yahuwah is in this place. In order to experience the existence of Yahuwah, we've got to nullify ourselves. And the gematria of that, I've done this as well. This is incredible gematria. Talking about the Yesh of YHWH. And how that's connected to Shimon ben Hillel. And it's also connected to Tishma'un, listen to him. It's really quite incredible. I can't go into thorough details, but you see the tabernacle of the sukkah of David will be raised up, and it will become a house of prayer for all people, and it will happen in this place. This place, what Yaakov was able to perceive, was nothing more than the house of God. We've got all this to come when the Moshiach is fully revealed. Okay, there's lots I could say about that. Bread from heaven. So 1592, the bread from heaven. They spoke about the bread from heaven in a negative way. So then the serpent was sent. And then the cure for the serpent bite was sent. The serpent on a staff that became Yeshua on a cross. That healed people, but then they turned it into a form of idol worship. There was Lashon Hara against the bread from heaven. What is the bread from heaven? The bread from heaven is the revelation of the name of Yahuwah in the book of Micah chapter 7 verses 18 to 20. It's the 13 attributes of Moshiach Keter. We're to emulate this name. This is our bread from heaven. This is a heavenly, above the letter of the Torah even. levels of mercy above the letter of the Torah. Levels of mercy that can even extend to our enemies. So that we can love our enemies. Okay? Not just love our neighbours, not just love Yahuwah, but love even our enemies. It's a level of mercy that was revealed to Joseph. Why? Because Joseph was in a place of deprivation that required that level of mercy revealing to them. But in doing so, Yahuwah has revealed his name. It's all right for us to look out and see Joseph. Oh, look at Joseph wallowing out and all that filth. Or when do we start to talk about the power of the name of Yahuwah as revealed through Yeshua, redeeming people from this dark, evil, filthy place and returning them to Torah? How we don't talk about the power of the name that accomplished that. We like to focus on the wallowing in the mud. We like to focus on the darkness. We like to say that they're doing evil or they've done evil. We don't want them near us. This is a sectarian spirit, isn't it? This is a self-righteousness. This is the same thing that came out of Qumran to a certain degree. We've all been affected by it. We all think we're better than somebody else. We're not. Because we all need each other. And that should humble us. Because the mission is not completed until unity is completed. And that requires us to humble ourselves and to find ways to unite with people that are even like us. We've got to overcome the spirit of Amalek as well. The spirit of doubt. So we've got to also embrace this concept of the bread from heaven. How do we do that? Through the Seh Tamim Zachor, the perfect male lamb. That's sacrificed at Pesach 1582. You can see it was related to the bread from heaven. It was Yeshua. It's indeed, the Lord is in this place. It's the head of the camp of Yosef. It's the one who's suffering that Yehuda speaks about in the prayer before anything was created. We've just gone through it. And it's also related to Qumran. Okay? So Qumran, there's good for everything, like I say. Qumran, there's the need to separate. There was a need to separate. There will be a need to unite. There will be a need to sweeten. And we were disgusted with this rotten bread, the bread from heaven. So we got bit by serpents. And we got, I always compare we bitten by a serpent. What does that mean? This is what it means to me. You know, if you spend a long enough time around narrow-visioned people who are self-centered, self-righteous people, who think that only they have the truth and nobody else beside, only they have got Yahuwah working in their lives, nothing else. They only got the serpent working. It's not Yahuwah, it's the serpent. You end up with a slitty-eyed version of reality. I was challenged with this recently because I went to a Zadokite festival and, you know, I'm thinking to myself all kinds of things that not necessarily good, but at the same time I was able to see there's only Yahuwah. You know, these people are doing the best to celebrate, as this is where Yahuwah has brought them to, the path that He has chosen for them to walk on, maybe the only path that was available to them, and it's led them out into Qumran to keep a Zadokite calendar that isn't even rooted in the Torah of Moshiach, that represents a revelation of his name. And we're told, unless Yahuwah builds, the builders build in vain. So I'm thinking all this, I'm thinking, okay, so this is the way Yahuwah's chose to guide them. I've got to respect that. It isn't the way that I've been guided by Yahuwah. But you see, my life is just a small perspective. We've got to incorporate everybody else's perspective. We've got to validate and reconcile everybody else back to the Torah of Moshe and back to the name of Yahuwah. Because if not, we've got a serpent-eyed view of reality instead of a Moshiach-eyed view of reality. There's a difference. We've got a slitty-eyed version of reality. We've got a forked-tongue version of reality. We've got a cognitive dissonance version of reality. We've got a schizophrenic version of reality. We've got a double minded version of reality where we can't even practice what we preach. Okay, this is where double-mindedness comes on. This is the fall of Da'ath, the fall of Moshiach, from the place in our mind down into our flesh, so we can't even perceive it correctly. And as a result, the two crowns that are on the Da'ath, which is the supernal Da'ath, the Moshiach, are falling to right and left shoulders. So we're always at war with ourselves. We're always the revolving sword. Chesed, Gevurah, always at battle. Split personality, double-mindedness, forked tongue, saying one thing and the next. There's no unity even within ourselves. We've no shalom even within ourselves. We feel full of lashon hara. We feel through a serpent version of reality. When we try to perceive reality, we're looking at it through our little squinty, slitty-eyed, our own perspective, trying to view things. That is not how we're ever going to bring unity. Because we've got to let go of ourselves. We've got to nullify ourselves. If we want a bigger picture, we've got to look through the name of Yahuwah as been revealed throughout the entire of history, the last 2,000 years, and root that back to His Torah, for the glory of His name, not for the glory of our own self-righteousness, which is very limited. We've got to see the glory of Yahuwah in all things. And I struggled with this, because I went to a Zadokite festival, and it was difficult, because I had my own understanding of what things should be done and when, and I had to take a step back from myself in order to see the bigger picture of this is what Yahuwah has done to return the lost house of Joseph, when none of us are all the way home yet. This is just one of the stations on the way to perfect unity. You got to celebrate what's been accomplished so far and not deny the power of Yahuwah to return these people. They'd been drug addicts. There'd be all kinds of different, sufferings like you can't even imagine. The hand of Yahuwah just guiding them footstep by footstep through hell on earth to reach a place where they're celebrating any festival whatsoever, on whatever calendar whatsoever, in their hearts and minds for the sake of Yahuwah. It's to be celebrated. There may be some deception in there still that needs outworking, but you can't deny the place to where they've come thus far is glorious. It's of Yahuwah. And if He started this work, He's going to finish it. So you've got to sometimes take a step back from yourself, and I did that. I had to. And all the time when I was miserly, filled full of judgment, filled through my slitty serpent-eyed vision, looking, I couldn't feel joy with them, because I was thinking, well, they're not quite keeping the calendar as they should, and all this and blah blah blah. You could go on forever and ever and look for the problems. You could go on forever and focus on the concealment. We need to focus on the mystical, wonderful, hidden way Yahuwah has worked in everybody, the house of Joseph's life, to return us to any concept of Torah whatsoever, any concept of fulfilling the mitzvahs whatsoever. We've literally been in hell on earth. We've literally been to the darkest corners of this earth to prove and show and bear witness to the power of the holy name. So has revealed to us through Yeshua. Sorry about that. 233 is Eitz HaChaim, the tree of life. We were disgusted with this rotten bread that just so happened to be the tree of life, just so happened to be our way home. But no, we were disgusted with this rotten bread, so we've had to learn the hard way. And that's why we're where we are now. That's why we're out wandering in the desert, going round and round, getting bitten by scorpions, snakes and vipers, wrestling with Satan at every corner, suffering separation instead of unity, suffering from hate and judgment instead of love and compassion, concealing His name instead of revealing it. We aren't finished. We're on our way home. We will get there. The proof that we've come so far is proof that we will finish, because He will finish the work that He started in us. Okay, so it's time to open our eyes and see beyond ourselves. We need to see beyond ourselves. We need to see the righteousness. Oh, just wait a minute. I've noticed something here. Okay, so I've just noticed that that's 582 and that's 582. Okay, the bread from heaven, the perfect lamb. This is 1592. So there is a slight difference there. I've only just picked that up. Anyway, don't go too far out. It doesn't go too far out. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17. Okay, I don't know how to make it up. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. That one you could easily add a letter. For each letter you could have a kalal, and it would go up to 1592, because you've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So that could be 1592 with a kalal. If there's 10 here, that would be good. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. There's 9, so 1 for each letter and then 1 for the whole phrase. You could add that up and get up to 1592. Okay, legitimate gematria. However, this, and this are all linked. They're all linked. Okay, just as I've said. Let's have a look at this. And winter time, et a horef. And I do believe that this is one of the Tekufa. And winter time, by the way, in the summertime the temple was destroyed. 9th of Av is the height of summer. In the winter time the temple was rededicated during Hanukkah. So there is a connection there. We want in a rededication. Sorry, I'm not wanting to sneeze, but that's worth bearing in mind. King David's kingdom is very much related to the power of the moon. Okay, the full moon, if you like, that reflects the light of the sun. So there is a connection there to Yeshua HaMashiach. And also there's a connection here to 777, which is the Shabbat. So it's just worth bearing in mind. And then we've got this up here. For then I will convert the people to a pure language, that all of them call in the name of Yahuwah, to worship him with one accord. So the Mispah Gadol, the Mispah Gadol ordinal come to 5,655, which is 5 times 1,131. Baruch haba b'shem Yahuwah. He's going to bring and restore to us a one language. I talked about this last lesson, so I'm not going to go over that too much. Last lesson was good. Talks about the jealousy between Joseph and Yehuda. These are that jealousy that Yehuda and Joseph has toward one another. The two camps have been split as a result of possible influence that came from Qumran. Creates jealousy and envy and vexation. We need to overcome it, because you see the jealousy and vexation between those, that brotherly hate causes the powers of Leviathan and Behemoth, the wild ox, to exist. And at some point they're going to be fighting one another, and only the righteous will be saved. Those people that are caught up by the powers, these demonic powers of jealousy and rivalry, are going to have that eradicated, because the jealousy of Joseph will battle with the jealousy of Yehuda, and they'll kill one another. And the righteous will feed off what's left. They'll have surf and turf that day, the Leviathan and Behemoth. Talked about that last lesson. We need to overcome. The righteous will overcome the jealousy and the rivalry between Joseph and Yehuda. It's not easy. It's an epic battle. This battle is so powerful at work within us. It's equivalent to Behemoth battling with Leviathan. It's not an easy power to overcome, but it's overcomable if you're righteous and you're filled with the truth, and you want unity more than you want separation, and you want the bigger picture more than you want your own slitty-eyed version of reality, your own sense of self-righteousness. Be aware of him and obey him. Do not rebel against him, for he will not forgive your transgression, for my name is within him. I talked about this a lot. If we add the ordinal up and the Mispah Gadol ordinal, we come to 1131. So this is talking about the angel of the Lord, which is Metatron. We are to obey him, but the sages say in the Talmud that word tamer is do not worship him. And I think this has been a problem throughout history. These very powerful angelic forces for good have been transformed into something that we create an idol of and worship. He will not forgive you, for my name is within him. The name YHWH is not in him, as he would be able to forgive. The name Shaddai is within him, which means it is enough. Shaddai, that is enough. So the name Yahuwah is not revealed through this angel. The name Shaddai is. So that's why he hasn't got the power to forgive. Because if the name of Yahuwah was with him, he could forgive, because that name is forgiveness. And we know that because Metatron comes to 314, which is exactly the same as Shaddai. These are a little bit mystical teachings. The angel of the Lord is there to scaffold us until we begin to do what we should have always done, which is emulate the name for ourselves, not expecting an intermediary. All the time we want an intermediary, we want somebody else to do it for us, we want somebody else to take responsibility. We're not mature enough to do what it is that we've been asked by Yahuwah to do, to emulate him in thought, word and deed. Okay? To worship only him and nothing else beside. Until we get to that stage, we've got something guiding us along the way. That guide is Metatron. Okay? It's our schoolmaster. He's a slave who rules. He's not the king himself, but most of us presume he's the king. He's not. He's an ever-changing God. If we do good, he treats us good. If we do bad, he whoops us. And sometimes when we do good, we get treated bad. And sometimes when we do bad, we get treated good. Because it's a complicated system of reward and punishment that's run by this particular angel. And when you're trapped in his world, that God looks a whole lot like that. An ever-changing God, reality of God. You need to get back to the tree of life, where Yahuwah changes not. He's always himself infinitely. He's always merciful, always kind, always gracious, always forgiving. We need to be attached to his name, attached to the tree of life, not attached to an ever-changing tree of knowledge of good and evil, all confused, all double-minded, all fork-tongued. When we're there, we need to battle against the concept of God that inspires within us. This is us battling against Satan and his lies. I've talked about it a lot. Okay, so decided to actually finish it there because I had another slide, but I've gone on enough for this lesson. So please share and subscribe. There is another wonderful lesson to come after this, which talks about how this phrase Baruch haba B'Shem Yahuwah is connected to all the attributes as expressed through the tree of life, and lots of other things beside that. So share and subscribe, and shalom.